What is up, Coach Emma here, and welcome back to the Fit Habit Life podcast, where we cut through the noise, talk real health and fitness, sustainable fat loss, and habits that actually work. And on today's episode, I will be talking about the uncomfortable truth that no one wants to face when it comes to muscle building. But before we dig in, just wanted to thank you for listening. If you've been listening to the show for a while, I really appreciate it, and it's awesome you keep coming back. If you could rate the show, subscribe, or share it, it just helps me get in front of more people, which helps me help more people debunk the crap that's out there. So, thank you. But yeah, uncomfortable truth of muscle building. It's the fact that the scale is going to go up. Nobody wants to face it. We want to look toned, we want to build muscle, but we don't want that number on the scale to creep upward. And that's the biggest hurdle I've noticed with a lot of my clients with regards to muscle building, and just in general, is the biggest hurdle with a lot of things. And I'm backstory. There's a lot of fitness information out there that people talk about body recomposition. Burn fat, build muscle synonymously at the same time. For most people, that's really unrealistic. For people who have never trained before, someone who's never lifted weights, someone who's brand new to strength training, yes, that is very possible. You don't need to necessarily be in a surplus to build muscle. You need to send a signal to the body to build muscle. But if your body's used to building muscle, it's going to need extra calories partition as muscle tissue. So there's what we call newbie gains, right? New to strength training, start fine-tuning your diet, eating enough protein. You're going to start to build muscle pretty quick here. And you might be eating less calories than you were before. You're just eating more nutrient-dense options that's allowing your body to recover and rebuild muscle tissue. But somebody who's super consistent, who's trained for a while, who has tracked their calories for a while, who consistently hits their protein intake, building muscle is going to be, one, a lot more challenging, but two, it's going to be more uncomfortable. Because that scale is going to move upward. You're going to gain weight. But if that weight is muscle, then that's awesome. But that's just an uncomfortable truth most people don't want to face. And that's why a lot of people consistently stay stuck. They never actually end up building muscle. Because once the scale starts to creep upwards, they stop and they cut calories. And that's why they're in the position that they're in, and that's why they continue to go back to the position that they're in. And then the only other really individual that doesn't really need to be in a huge surplus to build muscle is, well, I guess there's two, but one is not most people. But one is like the person who's detrained. Let's say you got injured, you couldn't train for a couple months. You're probably going to lose some muscle mass, even if your protein intake's high. Once you go back to training, you're going to build it pretty quickly here because your body is used to having that muscle tissue, so it's going to come back pretty quickly. And you might not need to be in a huge surplus. And because you probably lost muscle and probably put on some body fat, you'll probably have a nice body recomp where you burn a little body fat and build some muscle at the same time. But when it comes to, as I said, someone who's very consistent, who's been training for a while, who hits their protein intake, tracks their calories, you have to be in a surplus. You don't have to eat 500 to 1,000 extra calories a day, but you do need to be eating more than your maintenance calories. And usually, depending on the person, 200 to 300 more. There's some people who just move way more than usual when they're in a surplus. So for them, they might need 500 calories above their top end of maintenance, but it's because they just are super active. But most people, it's about 200 to 300 calories above top end of maintenance, depending on the individual. Usually you're looking for about 1/4 to a 1/2 pound of weight on average gained a week. And that's like a nice sweet spot to be in. The other anomaly is the person on testosterone, like androgynous steroids, like the jacked, super huge, freakishly jacked person at the gym. Because if you have more testosterone, that's sending a signal for your body to build muscle. So that's the other anomaly. But most people aren't that. Most people don't want to inject themselves. But that scale's going to go up anyway when you're building muscle if you're injecting yourself with testosterone. But you don't necessarily have to be in a surplus in order to build muscle in that case. So yeah, that's just an uncomfortable truth most people don't want to face. And it's unfortunate because, well, and this is something I struggle with too. So I'm not coming from a place of, oh, this is crazy, I can't believe people. No, I struggle with this. Like when the scale goes up, it affects me. Sometimes more than others. But why? I don't know. I was overweight for a really long time, and so I think that's part of it. I have been probably over 40 pounds heavier than I am now. This is the healthiest I've ever been. My hormones are in check. My gut health is in check. I'm strong. I'm cardiovascularly fit. I'm not as fit as when I was playing water polo in college for 3 to 4 hours a day, but still, like, health-wise, like all markers, strength, energy levels, cardio, hormonal health, gut health, like those all-encompassing, all together, they're in the best spot they've ever been. But still, like, scale jumps a couple pounds here and there, that really screws with me. The other weekend, we got pho, which is like a super salty rice noodle bowl that's amazingly delicious. And it's got like an insane amount of sodium in there to where every time when I get it, I'm like, I know the scale's going to jump. But it jumped like 3 pounds from the day prior, and I was like, oh my goodness. And then 2 days later, it went down 3 pounds. So it's like, okay, the scale can fluctuate so much, like so much. People don't understand. And I understand it, and it still affects me. So point being, I'm not coming from a place of judgment, but in order to break that chronic dieting cycle, to actually see the body composition changes that you want, the scale is going to have to go up. It just will. And there's a couple ways to manage that. So number one is just don't weigh yourself. Take waist measurements, take progress photos, weigh yourself once a week, every couple weeks. Don't weigh yourself daily because the scale fluctuates daily. What I like to do with clients, but depending on the client, it doesn't work super well, is to continue to weigh yourself daily and to acknowledge how it makes you feel and to try to kind of break down, like, why is this increase happening? Like the day the scale jumped 3 pounds, I'm like, well, I had a big bowl of sodium the day before, way more sodium than I usually have, so my body's holding on to way more water. Hello? That makes sense, right? Yeah, it totally does. Sometimes you bump your carbs. Your body's going to hold more water. That's really normal. Sometimes, if you're a female, your menstrual cycle starts. Usually people retain a bit more water around that time. The scale's going to jump. Poor night of sleep, water retention. You strength trained. This is an interesting thing that happens oftentimes with people who they're new to strength training, or they've taken a break and they haven't trained in a while, and they strength train and they're like, what the hell, the scale went up. Well, when you strength train, you're breaking down muscle tissue, and that causes inflammation. Inflammation usually tends to lead to more water retention because your body's trying to rebuild and repair. So you know what it does? The inflammation shuttles more nutrients and other things to those areas that have been trained, and that's why. So, very common. So, easy way to get the scale to drop: cut carbs, stop strength training, and do cardio. And the scale will drop pretty quickly. And that's what a lot of people do. And that's what a lot of these people that a lot of clients that I work with, they used to do, right? It's like, oh my gosh, the scale jumped. I'm going to cut calories, cut carbs, add in cardio, and the scale's going to drop pretty quickly. That's not fat loss. It's not fat loss. It's just loss of water retention, loss of weight. So once you understand these things, it helps a little bit, but still, some people, myself included, that seeing that scale go up is uncomfortable. And for a lot of the clients, when they start with me, it's really uncomfortable to them because they hire me to lose weight. And the scale's not going to move for a while because most of the people that hire me tend to have chronically dieted for decades. So their metabolism's not in a great place. Their stress levels are elevated. Their body's under stress. They probably have some form of gut issue, hormonal imbalance that needs to be resolved. So you know what we're not going to do? We're not going to cut their calories back down to 1,500 again. We're going to focus on building muscle, reducing stressors, fueling their body adequately. And if that's not for you, I'm probably not going to be the right coach for you. But if you actually want to break the chronic dieting cycle, then this is a process you're going to have to go through. I've been through it. There was a 2-year period, basically right after I got married until April when I hired my coach. I was not dieting. I did not diet for 2 years. I got up to probably 190 pounds. That's kind of uncomfortable for me. But my energy levels were good, my strength was good. I definitely was more overweight than I felt comfortable in, but my body needed that. My body needed that. I was under a lot of stress. That's when I was transitioning out of a full-time job into coaching. We had a bunch of other crazy life stuff that if you listen to the episode I just did with my husband, we touched on. But yeah, it's hard for people to realize. It's like, if you've been yo-yo dieting, like chronically dieting for years, decades maybe, it's going to be a long process to build muscle and get your body to a safe, comfortable spot to where it is ready to lose weight. And for a lot of people, it's going to be really uncomfortable. But that's the way to do it. If you want to get toned, you want to see a body composition change that's sustainable, where you can be eating like me right now. And okay, I'm 6 feet tall. I'm about 170 pounds. But I consume about 2,700 calories a day. I'm also fairly active. I'm not like crazy active. Like I train 4 days a week, swim once or twice a week, and I probably walk 10,000 steps a day. But I'm eating 2,700 calories a day and maintaining my weight. Yeah, the scale fluctuates. Sometimes it's 173, sometimes it's 168. It's just water weight. Point being, the right way to do things is going to be uncomfortable. One, because it puts you in a place that you don't like to be in. Right? If you want to lose weight and the scale's going up, or it's staying the same, or it's fluctuating, that's uncomfortable. You don't like it. You feel puffy, bloated, uncomfortable, right? But 2, it's uncomfortable because it's so different from what you're used to. And if it's so different from what you're used to, it's just, that's uncomfortable. It just, period, end of story. But it's necessary. It's necessary because if you want to keep doing the stuff you've done before, that's fine, but you're never going to see the results that you want. And oftentimes, that's why clients come to me. So oftentimes, they trust the process, they trust me. I reassure them, I'm like, I know this is uncomfortable. I understand. We're trying to find your top end of maintenance. We're trying to get you to build some muscle. It's going to be really uncomfortable. You were overtraining, underfueling. So, like, I had a man, 6'3", 225 pounds. He was eating 2,000 calories a day. And he was training intensely 6 days a week. You know what I didn't do? I did not cut his calories down to 1,500 calories a day. Nope. We built up his calories. We increased his protein intake. Oftentimes, that's what I do with most clients anyway. Even the clients who haven't trained before, newbie clients, we're kind of doing what is called like a reverse diet. Reverse diet, trying to find your top end of maintenance, put you into a surplus so that you can actually build muscle. And we just increased his protein intake, started to slowly increase his calories, reduced his training drastically to where he was training 6 days a week, but it was like 2 exercises a day and then a bunch of mobility to make him feel like he was training more with a long rest period. Because a lot of the people that come to me too, they like CrossFit, high intensity, interval training, not pure strength training with long rest periods. So it's uncomfortable. But you know what he did? He trusted me. He trusted the process. Now he's down 30 pounds and we're building muscle. And he looks awesome. So, point being, process of building muscle, the truth is the scale is going to go up. It's going to. Especially like for me. If I was focusing on building muscle, the scale would increase. It would have to. And it's an uncomfortable truth. People don't like that. I don't really like it, to be honest. But if I wanted to build muscle, improve my metabolic rate, then I would have to do that. And I did do that. I've done it in the past. So, to build muscle, the scale's going to go up. Unless you're a newbie trainer, or newbie trainee, or detrained individual who's trained before. Or, well, no, if you're on steroids or anabolics, the scale's going to go up. You just don't need to be in a calorie surplus for it to go up. But anyway, hopefully this episode was helpful. If you're struggling and you're like, I've been yo-yo dieting for decades, I can't seem to lose the weight and keep it off, I really want a more sustainable approach, then this is what I do. This is what I help people with. I try to help people break that chronic dieting cycle, address the root cause of what could be causing some metabolic dysfunction, whether that be gut health issues, hormonal imbalances, just overstressed, under-recovered, under-fueled system that needs some recuperation and building muscle. And then actually set you up so that when you do lose the weight, you're good to go and you can keep it off. That's what I do. So if this interests you, if this is something you're struggling with, and you want to chat, you can just book a discovery call in the show notes. There's a link to that. And I'd love to chat. And even if we don't end up working together, I'll give you some actionable next steps. And I have like 4 spots open. So if you are interested, there aren't very many spots left. So hop on that because my book is almost full. And then I'll be adding a wait list and upping my prices. So jump on before that happens. And that's it for today. But to build muscle, the scale is going to increase. So let that sink into your head. And it's okay. It's okay. You don't want to be gaining like 5 pounds a week, right? 1/4 pound to a 1/2 pound a week on average. That's not very much. So let that sink in. Think about it. This is something I help people with, so I could help you with it if you need it. Anyway, thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed this episode, if it's resonated with you, if you could share it, rate the show, like the show, subscribe. That just helps me get in front of more people and helps me help more people. So anyway, thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great day. Peace.